Before the meeting commences, I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting on the land of the Bidjigal and Gadigal people who occupy the Sydney coast, being the traditional owners. On behalf of Randwick Local Planning Panel, I acknowledge and pay my respects to the elders, past and present, and the Aboriginal people in attendance today. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Randwick Local Planning Panel. I'm the chair of the panel, and my name is Sue Francis. And I'd just like to confirm, because we are all required to do this, that is to declare any conflicts of interest. And I'd like to declare onto the record I have no conflicts of interest. And then I'd like to go around the panel and then get them to introduce themselves and to declare whether they have a conflict. So, Michael.
Thank you. Michael Levy, qualified town planner, over 35 years experience, local, state and private sectors. I operate a planning consultancy based on the Central Coast, and I'm also experienced expert member and chair of both local and regional planning panels. And I can confirm I have no conflicts of interest for any of the items on the agenda.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Schofield. I'm here today as a community panel member, being a resident at Kingsford.
My name is Awais Piraja, and I'm an expert member of this panel. I'm a town planning academic.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, today we have one speaker in relation to the public agenda, where we actually have one item. That one speaker is Conrad Williams. I note he is online, which is fantastic. Just for information, each speaker will be given 3 minutes. We have copies of all your submissions received in response to the public exhibition, and so we don't need you to repeat them, but by all means feel free to make clear your particular issues. We may or may not ask any queries in relation to any submission you make, and we may or may not ask council staff if they have any additional information that we may ask. After the speaker has addressed, we will, since we have only one item and one speaker, we will adjourn the meeting and then we will deliberate, and that information will be available. The determination that we make will be available as soon as possible after the meeting. So we have one item and one speaker, so let's move forward. So let's hear from Conrad Williams, please. Conrad, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We can hear you. The floor is yours and you have 3 minutes to raise your issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi panel, council, applicant and community. I'm a local resident impacted by the proposed development. I was excited to see the HIA for McGill Street that included block massing for future development, and note that council had summarised. I note that council has also summarised the reasons for objective from a planning technical perspective and community responses. There is a community that have a heartfelt emotional shudder at this proposal. It is disappointing to see that the development has shattered the intent of the HIA at such an early stage of the development in the McGill Street HIA area. The community does seek a pause to this development, as the development is really aghast to what was originally proposed. The developers, I believe, have a social and equatorial responsibility to the residents to create a safe, affordable urban environment to work, live and socialise in. The need of a more coherent planning development application, considering and incorporating best practice solutions and a way to future-proof the urban development of this area, also including environmental impacts, is a clear lack of this application. This development does not have any consideration for social or equatorial responsibility aside from a low-cost accommodation, well, not even that, a bulk accommodation proposal. There is no consideration in this proposal for co-locating with other types of developments, both now and in the future. And it is noted in the council's response that there has been no community or Indigenous consultation. This development should be for low-cost accommodation, if it was to be for anything, should include high-efficiency targets such as 7-star, 8-star or 9-star targets, which would reduce the cost for occupants, and not just in this development, but for all developments in this area. A considered community approach that would want to discover this ambitious characteristic, because it is located near the high technology hubs like the hospital and the university, would be a marking development approach. Ensuring all stakeholders understand and implement these standards will drive the building performance across the developed area. There is no consideration for environmental, social or governance in the proposal. There's no community consultation, with no consideration for long-term impacts of this type of building. It could lead to some undesirable outcomes in the future and lead to a derelict building or a poorly utilised building. The proposal should consider socially sustainable concepts, prioritising livability and community engagement, equitable access to green space, and development should enhance the quality of life of those residents and our local cultural context. I'm highlighting the areas of concern as a community that this is an affront to what was originally put forward by the HIA, and would seek that council's recommendation to refuse this application be followed through. And I thank you now for allowing me to voice our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. Thank you very much. Does the panel have any queries or questions for Mr. Williams?
Just one very quick question, if I could. Thank you. Your concerns about no community consultation, are you talking about broader consultation outside of the DA exhibition process?
Indeed, because this sort of development here will have a wider impact on all of the McGill Street area. Even though most of the respondents are directly impacted, it has a follow-on effect for the larger area as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, you just, Mr. Williams, you mentioned about it being inconsistent with the HIA, which is the heritage.
No, it's the
local
housing initiation area.
Yeah,
Housing investigation area is originally proposed.
Thank you. Can you just explain a little bit more, like what the key things are there that you think it's inconsistent with?
I would call it block massing. The size and bulk of the building is, in comparison to what was shown in block massing on the original HIA, it would look like it's twice as big.
And that's the only concern, or are there one or two other things?
Well, that leads to all the other concerns around the access, the number of occupants, how it's going to be used, and so on as well. It's not what I read the HIA to be about, which was more diverse residential type apartment blocks. So I'd look at across the road at Newmarket and look at some of their approaches, and I thought, yep, that would look good here. That would be ideal, but we've ended up with one type of occupancy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We will now close the meeting and we'll then go to deliberation. So that's 1:08. Thank you very much indeed.